Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is my second video on OmniStudio, and in this video I will be covering the OmniScript today. So we will see where should we use the OmniScripts, what are the limitations of OmniScript, what we can do using the OmniScript, how this is beneficial, right? We will see what is OmniScript designer, and we will also get our hands dirty with some of the sample OmniScripts. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so let's get started with what OmniScript is. So if I talk in very simple terms, OmniScript is a tool which is made up on the top of Salesforce and which can be used to create omnichannel UIs. What does omnichannel UI means? So let's say you are looking for a UI which should be used at multiple places. It should be used at community, it should be used on a web page, or it should be used inside internal Salesforce app. So you can use that type, you can create that type of UI using OmniScript and with zero code. Yes, you just need to drag and drop some items and you can create that type of UI. So basically what happens is when we create an OmniScript and when we activate it, basically Salesforce create the LWC component with that. So wherever we can use the LWC component, we can also use this OmniScript. Okay, so why should we use the OmniScript? What are the advantages? So there are basically three main advantages of using the OmniScript. The first is there is no code involved. So basically you can drag you can create a very complex UI just with dragging and dropping some elements, right? Then second advantage is it is very easy to maintain as there is no code involved. You do not need any developer if you want to change some small items, if you want to change a label, if you want to add some new items, right? If you want to add a new step, it is very easy, just drag and drop it. Third advantage is Salesforce also provides some leverages to customize the UI. Customize means you can adjust the elements. It can be full size, it can be half size, right? You can also add some CSSs, but it's to a certain limit. You cannot modify the UI too much, but I think whatever you can modify, it is it is good enough. So if you are seeing my screen, this is the OmniScript designer. This is how we create the OmniScript. So if you divide this OmniScript designer into multiple parts, we will get first this header where we can see the type, subtype, language, version, and if this OmniScript is active or not. Then we do have this navigation panel where we can see all the steps which are currently dropped in our on our OmniScript and the elements which are dropped inside them. So if we click on any any of the element, basically OmniScript designer will focus that element. Then we do have this canvas. This canvas is the I think most important part of OmniScript. So if you want to create some UI, you basically needs to drop the elements on this canvas. Then we do have the build panel. So build panel is where we can find all the elements. So let's say if you want to drag and drop one more text box, right? So you can find it here and you can drop it to the canvas. In the build panel, you can find the actions, if data raptors, the integration procedures, the PDF actions and whatever you need, right? You can find out these line breaks, text blocks, etc. You can find out the functions, you can find out the inputs, which we will be discussing, more details. Then you do have the properties panel. These properties are, specific to a single element. So let's say you do have this, this element, and you can see all the properties which belongs to this element in the properties panel. So let's say I do not want this big label, I just want it first name. So you can easily do that, right? So you can see how easy it to change these properties, right? So these properties also differ from element to element. So for example, if this is a text box, you are seeing these properties, but if it is a checkbox, you will find out some different properties. Then one more part of this designer is the setup panel. This setup is basically the script wide, means it does not belongs to a particular element, it belongs to the whole script, right? So for example, if you want this script to be reusable means you can use this script inside some other script also. If you want this if you want to enable the tracking means if you find out how much time the user is taking to navigate through all the steps, then you can enable the tracking. If you want to add some tab titles, some tab icons, or you can also specify some chart properties, some step properties. So let me preview it. So basically these are the steps available, right? So we can set up where do you want these steps. So if I go to step chart options, you can either put them on the left side or the right side or the top, right? So let's say I will put it on the left side. Now let me preview it so you can see this is moved to the left side now. Right. Now if you see on the OmniScript, we do have this save for later in the next button or the previous button. If you go to the next step, right? So this we can also control this. So let's say if I again goes to the setup and if I click on the cancel option, right? So here you can enable the cancel button. If you do this, basically you will get a cancel button. Now if you want to change if you want to allow save for later or not, you can also control it here, and few more options. If you want to add some styles, you can you might create the styles in a static resource and then refer it here, or you may write some inline styles here. Okay, so the last panel or the last part of this designer is the preview, where you can preview your OmniScript, right? So you can see now it contains two steps. The first step contains first name, last name, or whatever we dropped, right? When you click on next, you can see the second step, right? Two more things to talk about here is the data JSON. So basically this data JSON is the JSON which is getting created when you fill this form. So for example, let's I'm adding my name here, first name, right? So we'll see here when you tab out from this element, you can see my first name is updated in JSON, right? So if I enter my second name also, it will also be updated here. So this JSON has a specific structure. These few things are by default from Salesforce, so you cannot change them. But this structure, if you see, right, so this personal information, and we are getting few JSON elements inside that, right? This is personal information because the name of step 1 is personal info, right? So let's say if I'm going back to design and if I click on this step 1, you can see the name is personal info, right? So let's say if I want it personal information instead of info, right? So if I preview it now and I try to fill the data, right? So instead of person information, you will be seeing the personal information here. See, if I goes to step 2 and I enter my email here, right, swagget.com, you can see one more element in this JSON is created, which is step 2. This is step 2 because the name of this step is the step 2, right? Then we have the action debuggers. So right now we do not have any action on this OmniScript, but sometimes we can add the data raptors or the integration procedures. At that time we can use the action debuggers to debug them, right? So we can find out what is the input or what is the request we are sending to those actions, or what are the responses we are getting from the responses. We'll be having a closer look when we will be doing when we will be creating the sample OmniScript. Hope this is clear till here.